Education meeting for Greeley Evans School District 6 on this, the 14th day of February 2022. This meeting will now come to order. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Lemon, will you be so kind as to call the roll for us?
Director Bentley.
Present.
Director Mash. Present. Director Matthews.
Present.
Director Mueller.
Present.
Director Norwood.
Present.
Director Pappas.
Present.
Director Sullivan.
Present.
All board members present.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. And thank you for being here, whether you're joining us in person or online. And we do have a full house tonight of people joining us, and we greatly appreciate that. I did not anticipate so many people on Valentine's Day to be here, and so we will do our best to have an efficient meeting so that you are out of here and onto your Valentine's Day plans tonight. Just a few things that I do want to update you on. One, we just received what used to be called the CAFR, that is now going to be, they're going to change the acronym on us, and it's going to be the ACFR. But that is our comprehensive annual audit for this school district. We receive that once a year, and it's basically a pass-fail test. And we are always looking for the word, as a board, we're always looking for the word clean. And we did, in fact, receive a clean audit, an unmodified audit. And so we want to extend congratulations to Ms. Megan Sponsler. And Ms. Mandy Hydock. And our entire finance team. Our superintendent gets a lot of accolades, and she is well deserving of all of those, but she has some incredible people that are behind her, and people I'm looking at right now. And so we appreciate not only our finance team, but all of our cabinet. You guys do a spectacular job. That transitions us to another item I want to update everyone on, and that is we spent 2.5 days last week with a lot of the members of our cabinet, and I say we as a board. We also spent that time with our Greely Educators Association, and we spent that time in what are called consensus negotiations. And I think when I say negotiations and tell people that I am spending 2.5 days in negotiations with our Greely Educators Association, some people don't think that that's, or would not guess that is as positive an experience as it really is. But having been on this board 4 years now and having gone through that process several times, I can truly say that it is a life-giving and thoroughly enjoyable process to get to negotiate with our educators and with our administrators and with our board members. And I want to thank all of our board members for taking time out of their normally scheduled weeks and normally busy weeks to spend 2.5 days in that process. I also want to thank our Greely Educators Association, who always works so well with us, and in an age where we hear so much anger and so much division, it is really remarkable that you can bring so many people together with different perspectives and different opinions, and be as productive and come to agreements in such a peaceable way. And so I want to thank everyone, and want to thank certainly Dr. Pilch for bringing that process to this district. It is simply one of the best things we do as a district. And so that's all I have for you tonight. Our next item is to approve the agenda.
I move to amend the agenda to move item 10.01, public participation of non-agenda items, to follow 6.0, public participation regarding agenda items.
Second.
Thank you both. You've heard the amended motion. Is there any comment or discussion on the amended motion? Hearing none, Ms. Lemon, will you give us a vote, please?
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Mueller?
Aye.
Director Norwood?
Aye.
Director Pappas?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. Our next item are special items. And the first of our special items is the ARC of Weld County Bullying Prevention Program. And so I'd like to, I see Mr. Gribble coming to the podium. But Dr. Pilch, is there anything you would like to say?
Thank you, President Matthews. We are so fortunate to have the partnership we have with ARC of Weld County. Thank you for being here tonight, folks. I know that Mr. Gribble is going to introduce you, and then I hope we're going to recognize some students for our poster contest. So again, welcome, and thanks for being here tonight. Mr. Gribble?
Thank you, Dr. Pilch, President Matthews, members of the boards. Great seeing you again. It's my pleasure to be here tonight with our partners from the ARC of Weld County to announce the winners of the 8th annual Bully Prevention Poster Contest. For the last 8 years, we have collaborated with the ARC of Weld County and our neighbors to the west over in Windsor during the month of October to create an activity to honor National Bully Prevention Month. Before I turn this over to our friends from the ARC, I wanted to recognize some of our district staff. First off, Teresa in the communications office and her team that helps create the annual flyer that we send out to all the students in District 6 as well as in Windsor. Lauren Maxey, the Office of Special Education Administrative Assistant, for helping do all the things behind the scenes, gather the posters and work with the students who do the voting and does all of that behind the scenes. I appreciate that. Mail and copy in Windsor, who have your calendars. And Teresa, you're passing those around? Okay. Yes, if you could pass them, keep on passing. Yes. All the teachers and students that participated in this year's event, and really most of my appreciation is for the ARC of Weld County and their partnership and leadership and sponsoring this event. And so with that, I'm going to ask Chris Housel, our board president of the ARC of Weld County, as well as Leticia Arguello, our advocacy manager at the ARC, to speak.
Good evening. My name is Chris Housel. I am board president of the ARC of Weld County and also Eastern Colorado. Can you hear me? Okay. We are so proud that this is our 8th year offering the bullying prevention poster, or presenting the prevention poster contest. The poster contest takes place every October, which is National Bullying Prevention Month. This has been a powerful collaboration with schools, and we have received some outstanding submissions from a variety of grades levels every year. A little bit about the ARC of Weld County. We are a service that provides services with people with intellectual and individual and intellectual disabilities. I would like to introduce to you Leticia.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. Without further ado, what we've all been excited and waiting for, I am so proud to present the 2021 Bullying Prevention Poster Contest winners. So when I call your name, if you're present as a student, you're welcome to come up to the podium to get your prize. So our first place winner, winning $100 and a $25 Pizza Hut gift card, is Mohammed Zubair from Franklin Middle School. And this is a copy of his art, and that's a copy of it. You can keep that one if you want to hold it up for folks to see. In second place, winning a $50 is Ingrid Overa Garcia from Dos Rios Elementary School. And I have your original artwork that you could take home with you if you want to hold it up and show it to everyone. Thank you, Ingrid. Our third place winner receiving a $25 gift card is Genevieve Maldonado from Dos Rios Elementary School. Congratulations. There's your winnings and your art to share with everyone. Thank you all. We're going to take a quick photo opportunity.
Thank you, and thank you to ARC for presenting this. Every year, we appreciate this program. It's a reminder that we want a kind and safe and bully-free environment in our schools. And I do want to let you know, if you are finished with your part of the meeting, you are always welcome to exit and play. We just ask that you do that as quietly as possible. Thank you. Our next item on our agenda is our Greeley Education Association Starfish Award. So I want to invite our president of our GEA, Ms. Andy Lee, to the podium.
Hello, everyone, and I'm so glad to be here. Usually when I present the Starfish, I present one person that kind of represents a group. And this time I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm going to give you a collective voice. So the people on this list are incredibly diverse. They are parents, students, and educators. They are Republicans, they are Democrats, and they're independents. They are certified employees, teachers and school psychs and audiologists, occupational therapists. They are administrators. They are educational support personnel with whom we could not function without, because they are the ones who provide the infrastructure of our district. They are pretty much every ethnicity that we have in our district. They are single, married, divorced, widowed. Some are retired and some are beginning their career. Actually, I don't know how we could get a more diverse group. And yet, the people on this list have three things in common. Every single one of these individuals on this list, all 253 of them, are invested in the Greeley community. Every single one of these 253 individuals have a connected tie to District 6, and they believe in District 6. And every single one of the people on this list are asking for one thing, and that is civility at our board meetings. And so when I sent out a request of a belief statement, I don't even really want to call it a petition because we're not asking you to do anything new. But we have a belief statement that civility is important. So I want to read your collective statement, their collective statement to you. And as I do, I want to honor all 253 people who signed their name to this list. And I also want to honor every single individual who brings civility into our community, into our schools, and into this board group, because it is noticed and appreciated. So, civility is reflecting our respect for others in behavior, regardless of whether we know or like them. It is also not simply being politically correct and is not used to stifle criticism or comment. It is being truthful and kind, and it is each of us taking responsibility for our own actions rather than blaming others. As we communicate with each other, we need to remember that we are working together to benefit the children in this community. Therefore, the 253 individuals on this list encourage the Greeley Education Association to advocate that we, as we communicate, students, faculty, staff, parents, and guardians, and all of the members of the community shall treat each other with courtesy and respect at all times. This means that we listen carefully and respectfully as others express opinions that may be different from ours. We share our opinions and concerns without loud or offensive language, gestures, or profanity. We do not heckle, impede others' ability to speak to the issue, or speak while others are speaking. Our words, both verbal and written, and our body language are respectful while listening to others express opinions that may be different from ours. Number 2, we treat each other with kindness. This means that we treat each other as we would like to be treated. We do not threaten or cause verbal or emotional harm to one another. We do not bully, belittle, or tease another, and we do not allow others to do so in our presence. We do not demean, and we are not abusive or obscene in any of our communications. Number 3, we take responsibilities for our own actions. This means that we refrain from displays of temper. We do not disrupt or attempt to interfere with individuals who are speaking their truth during the school board meetings. We use data and personal experiences to support positions, but we do not personally attack others when sharing that truth. We understand that we do not always get our own way, and I have to admit that one is a hard one for me. We do not condone the lack of civility by anyone. We encourage that all attendees of Weld School District 6 school board meetings treat all individuals with civility. We actively encourage all members of the community read and follow the board policies. We recognize that we are dealing with difficult times. We recognize that we are dealing with difficult issues, but we know that with civility, we can come up with solutions. And that is really what we as adults in this room are all about. We need to create solutions that better allow for a better education of all of our students in District 6. Because just like this list, our needs and our desires and our wants and our constituents are very diverse. But we all should be able to be civil while having our discourse. So like I said, normally I have an individual with me. I did not want to read off the 253 names, and I did not think all 253 individuals needed to stand in front of you. But I did think it was important that you knew that there are 253 individuals who feel strongly enough about this topic that they were willing to sign their name, and that they represent a good portion and a good dynamic of this community. And it is extremely diverse. So I understand how difficult some of these truths can be and how difficult some of these decisions can be. So thank you for your time, and thank you for allowing me to step out of my traditional role of the Starfish honoring of one person, because I really think all 253 of these individuals deserve some honor tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Our next item is Proclamation for Black History Month, and this is an action item that will need a motion.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley Evans School District 6 approves the proclamation recognizing February 2022 as Black History Month as presented.
Second.
Thank you both. Before we open this up for discussion and comment, Mr. Norwood, would you be so kind as to read the proclamation for us?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Matthews. This is an honorary proclamation of the Board of Education of the Weld County School District 6. Proclamation recognizing February 2022 as Black History Month. Whereas Black History Month recognizes and celebrates the significant contributions of Americans tracing their ancestry to Africa. And whereas the observance of Black History Month has been proclaimed by every U.S. president since 1976. And whereas 46.8 million Americans and 600 students in the Greeley Evans School District 6 are of African descent, making up more than 2.6% of the student body. And whereas Black History Month is celebrated every February as an homage to the achievements of Black Americans who have shaped American history, from Buffalo Soldiers to the first Black president and vice president of the United States of America. And whereas the evolving history of Black residents of the United States is the history of our country, and whereas District 6 is an institution of public education, and it is imperative that our schools teach the history of Black Americans and their experiences living in the United States. And whereas in the District 6 strategic plan, there is a strong commitment to the cultural excellence and implicity, recognizing the accomplishments and contributions of Black Americans in the past, present, and future. And whereas the contributions of Americans who are of African descent in the fields of science, politics, medicine, education, art, music, writing, public service, and many other careers have greatly enhanced and advanced these fields, improving the lives of all Americans. And whereas the art, food, dance, music, and culture of Black Americans is embedded in the colorful weave in the fabric of American culture. And now thereof, be it proclaimed that the Board of Education of Greeley Evans School District 6 recognizes and celebrates February 1st through February 28th, 2022 as Black History Month, and encourages all employees, students, families, and community members to honor our citizens of African descent and recognize their immense contributions to our communities, our state, our nation, and our world.
Thank you, Mr. Norwood. Dr. Pilch, is there anything that you would, before we open this up for board members, anything you would like to comment or say?
Thank you, President Matthews. I just wanted to check, we had reached out to see if we had someone joining us to accept the proclamation tonight, and I wanted to make sure we didn't forget someone, but I guess they weren't able to attend. The important thing is that the board recognizes the importance of recognizing Black History Month. We have two other primary ethnic, racial backgrounds in our school district other than Caucasian, and that's our Latino students and our African American students. And lots of activities taking place in classrooms during this month as well. So with that, I'll pass it to board members. Mr. Matthews.
Ms. Mueller.
As someone who works for an organization named after the second Black astronaut to lead a shuttle mission for the United States of America, Ronald E. McNair, I wholeheartedly support this proclamation. Much of our history has ignored or simply forgotten much of the contributions of our many distinguished Black Americans, and I am proud to support this proclamation.
Thank you, Ms. Mueller. Any other questions or comments from board members? Ms. Pappas?
I would just like to also say I'm proud to adopt this resolution. And I'd also like to remind us that, yes, we're recognizing February as Black History Month, but we also know that it's important for us to remember that these are our students, and we recognize our students every day, all year, and just want to bring that to our attention as well.
Thank you, Ms. Pappas. Seeing no other comments? Ms. Lemon?
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Mueller?
Aye.
Director Norwood?
Aye.
Director Pappas?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. Our next item of business is also a proclamation, and it's also an action item that needs a motion.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley Evans School District 6 proclaims February 7th through 11th, 2022 as National School Counseling Week as presented.
Second.
Thank you both. Before we have any discussion on this one, Ms. Mueller, will you read this proclamation for us?
Certainly, President Matthews. Proclamation recognizing February 7th through the 11th, 2022 is National School Counseling Week. Whereas school counselors are employed in schools to help students reach their full potential, and whereas school counselors are actively committed to helping students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents as these traits relate to career awareness and development, and whereas school counselors help parents focus on ways to further the educational, personal, and social growth of their children, and whereas school counselors work with teachers and other educators to help students explore their potential and set realistic goals for themselves, and whereas school counselors seek to identify and utilize community resources that can enhance and complement comprehensive school counseling programs and help students become productive members of society, and whereas comprehensive developmental school counseling programs are considered an integral part of the educational process that enables all students to achieve success in school. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of Education of Greeley Evans School District 6 recognizes and celebrates February 7th through February 11th, 2022 as National School Counseling Week, given under my hand and the executive seal of Weld County School District 6 on this 14th day of February 2022, Mr. Michael Matthews.
Thank you, Ms. Mueller. Before we open this up for question and comments from board members, Dr. Pilch, do you have anything to say on this one?
Thank you, President Matthews. I first just wanted to apologize that you're getting this proclamation the week after National School Counselor Week. So, and we have some school counselors with us tonight. We have Kristen Dalton, who oversees our counselors here in the district, with us tonight. And I don't want their recognition in any way to go shortchanged. As you know, we had 3 weeks between school board meetings because of an extra Monday in January. And so because of that, we missed getting you recognized ahead of time. I know that Ms. Myers, Chief of Communications, pushed out lots of things on social media and in intercom and lots of recognition for our counselors. But Kristen, and I think I saw Kendra Villarreal back here, I want to recognize both of you for your work as we know how important the work of school counselors is. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pilch. Other questions or comments from board members regarding this proclamation? Ms. Pappas.
Well, again, I would just echo what Dr. Pilch said, and we spent a significant amount of time last week at negotiations talking about the significant impact that counselors have on our students and our teachers and other staff on an ongoing basis. And as I said earlier, for Black History Month proclamation, yes, I'm glad you have your week, but I'm so grateful that we have you every day to do the work that you do to make the difference in the lives of students. So thank you all very, very much.
Ms. Mash.
This is my 4th year on the board, but I am still learning so much, especially as there are so many parts and pieces in our district that move to work with our students. So I know that counselors had quite the time, figuring out scheduling when we went to hybrid, when we were doing quarters, like totally different things that it already is a massive task before that. So I wanted to thank you as a parent of 1 and second high schooler next year, just working out those schedules, finding what's best for each student, encouraging them to find clubs and service projects, and then of course applying to colleges and or finding that trade or that next step for them. So thank you very much for all of the many, many things you do, and I'm sure I only touched on a small fraction.
Ms. Mueller.
I also want to thank the counselors in our district who have had to go through so many more things than maybe was originally on their job description during this pandemic. I know that you have been the front lines in dealing with our students who have had emotional crisis, and I appreciate that work intimately. And I know sometimes it is that school counselor who makes a difference in a student's life and make sure that student has the kind of resources they need to support their mental health. So thank you for being on those front lines.
Thank you, Ms. Mueller. Any other questions or comments from board members? Well, I would just echo those comments Ms. Mash made. Just as a parent, our school counselors have been invaluable throughout this pandemic. They're invaluable. They were invaluable the years before the pandemic, and making sure that our kids knew what they wanted to do, making sure that they had the opportunity to try new things, making sure they knew what options were available to them in the school district, encouraging them to apply to this school or to think about this program or that program. They've been invaluable for years, but in the last 2 years, they've been incredibly significant in the lives of our children. And so just know that those of us who are parents, I think I can speak for parents, we're incredibly appreciative of the work that you do every day. And we know it's been hard for the last 2 years to take on so much of the emotional strain and what our children are dealing with. But we so appreciate you and can't be more thankful. So with that, Ms. Lemon, will you give us a vote, please?
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Mueller?
Aye.
Director Norwood?
Aye.
Director Pappas?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. We are now to our public participation regarding agenda items. And the board welcomes the comments of our community members and has dedicated this portion of the agenda to provide an opportunity for the community to present brief comments or pose questions to the board related to items that are listed on tonight's agenda. Written testimony or speaker handouts must be submitted to the board secretary, not to individual board members. The board typically does not engage in discussion or provide an immediate response to the input, but will ask district staff to respond as appropriate. The board is committed to providing a safe environment where all members of the school community are treated with dignity and respect, and expects speakers to exercise their speech rights responsibly. Defamatory or abusive remarks are always out of order. Speakers will be heard in the order in which they signed up to speak, and comments are limited to 2 minutes. If more than one person wishes to speak on the same topic, please focus comments on providing only new information and not repeating views already expressed by other speakers. Thank you in advance for your participation. And our first speaker tonight is Ms. Sonya Miller. Is Ms. Miller here? Ms. Miller, you'll have 2 minutes.
Hello, board. It's nice to see your faces. I want to talk about civility. Civility is not masking our children. Civility is not ignoring the parent's voice in email or in public comment. Civility is not discriminating against people who can't mask. Civility is not refusing children an education because they can't cover their breathing holes. Civility is not conspiring to segregate. And as far as addressing the public, Ms. Pilch, in last meeting, you addressed me as I sat in the front row here. And you accused me of not being able to meet with you because there wasn't a time that I was able to meet with you, and that's not the case, and you know that's not the case. And I have all the emails. And for anybody who wants the emails, they can email me at concernedwellcitizen@protonmail.com, and I'll share all those emails with them. But addressing the public and not giving them, in fact, in your comment, you said this is not a time for dialogue, Ms. Miller, then don't address me, okay? But if you're gonna address me, don't lie. There's no mics in the room upstairs where you guys have the work sessions. I can't hear you. I was there in person for the first time ever. I was actually allowed in the building and into that room for the work session, and I still couldn't hear you. There's no mics in that room. Why are we holding the meeting in that room when we have a boardroom here with all of the equipment ready and available, and we can make those available to the public? Now, you guys left your email up in the overflow room last week, Amy Lemon, Pilch's secretary, and it was conspiring with Nathan Fall, our legal counsel here, to keep me locked in the lobby. I also shared that with everybody, and I will share that email with anybody who's interested. You can email me at concernedwildcitizen@protonmail.com, and I'll share that email with you. I'll be back for the next public comment.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Our next speaker is Ms. Angelica Weiss. Ms. Weiss, you'll have 2 minutes.
Thank you. So last meeting, you guys rightfully said that masks don't work and that there's evidence, there's no data that masks work for this version of Corona. But a letter went out from a principal at Billy Martinez Elementary, pretty much telling the kids that, or telling the parents that the kids will be masked doing PE of all classes, because not of the teacher, but because of the teacher's husband. So it's a third person. Again, I'd like to remind, I just don't understand why we're setting children on fire to keep adults warm. This is not the children's responsibility to protect adults. Adults need to take the appropriate actions, whatever they need to do in their life to keep themselves safe. There's no data to show that this will protect another person for the kids to be masked, especially kids actually. There's no data on that, but there's plenty of data to suggest that, or to actually, it now is proven that masks harm children on many levels, whether it's in education, in speech, emotionally, it harms children. We need to stop this. Now this letter, the way it was worded, you have to actually opt out. So you have to sign a letter or something, I guess, to opt out for your child to wear masks. And how is the teacher gonna take that who is demanding that these children mask? Is she gonna be kind to those kids? Do we know how this will pan out? Are these kids gonna be treated differently? Are they gonna be bullied? Because we have evidence, there's parents in this room, one whose child was touched by a teacher because the child wasn't wearing the mask correctly. There is another mom in the room whose child, and I won't mention the name, but during roll call it went something like first name, no diaper wearing mask, last name. This is during roll call. That's bullying, straight up bullying by teachers because children chose not to wear a mask. Now I have, my email is full of parents who are scared to speak, not because for themselves to come here, but because they're scared that they're gonna have retaliation from the teachers to their children. And that needs to stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Weiss. Our next item, and you heard us move public participation regarding non-agenda items up from the end of the meeting to this portion of the meeting. So we'll continue with public participation, but this time on items that do not relate to the agenda. And our first speaker is Ms. Judy Crone.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Judy Crone, and this is Carol Riggs. We will be brief. We brought you a Valentine, a small token of our appreciation for your giving up this holiday evening, and so many evenings, days, and hours on behalf of our district students. We know how difficult these last few years have been, and particularly the last several months. Thank you for your hard work and dedication to District 6. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Crone.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both. Our next speaker is Ms. Tanis Batur.
Superintendent Pilch and board members, I want to thank you for taking the time on this February 14th, sacrificing time with your families to do this hard work for the 22,000 and more students in this district. I think you modeled the kind of behavior that are needed in our society. And Mr. Bentley, I want to talk about something that you brought up a couple of board meetings ago about soft skills in business. I think where our students learn those soft skills are at home and at places like this and at school, how they see adults interacting with each other. They're always learning. Maybe not the things we want them to learn, but they're always learning. And there are 10 skills. I looked it up online because I thought that was a very interesting thing to talk about, of the 10 soft skills that they're looking for. And I'd like to highlight just 5. One is communication, how we interact with each other, how well we get across our ideas. Another is adaptability, problem solving, teamwork, and interpersonal skills. I feel like what I've seen in the last few weeks, there are students who get to speak to you. There are all sorts of ways that you award and appreciate them. And I feel like those are the things that are going to help them as they get out into life and become citizens. So thank you as a board. Thank everybody who belongs to this district. I used to be in this district, and I'm very proud to see where this district is going.
Thank you, Ms. Batur. Our next speaker is Ms. Margot Karsten.
Good evening, President Matthews, school board directors, and Dr. Pilch. On behalf of the healthcare community, it's been a long 2 years. I work at Banner Health, and I could not be more proud of the work you all have done the last 2 years. It's been hard and intense, and I know that you did every decision with the student in mind and your faculty. And we could not be more grateful. We're here in the front row just to send lots of love on Valentine's Day. My niece said it's Kindness Day. And you all don't get paid. And as I always tell my team that I support, no one has led through a pandemic. And I could not be more proud of your leadership and Dr. Pilch, your leadership, because I know your heart was with the students every single day the last 2 years. So on behalf of the medical community, you all have been amazing. Let us know how we can support you. I couldn't be more proud. Thanks, Dr. Pilch and the board.
Thank you, Ms. Karsten. Our next speaker is Ms. Sonya Miller.
Hello, board, I'm back. I know that might disappoint you, Miss Mash. In the meeting that we just had upstairs for the work session, you guys were talking about splitting up public comments so that we can't have two, we can't comment twice, once on agenda items and once on non-agenda items. But that's wrong. We definitely need to be able to comment. 2 minutes each isn't enough for even one agenda item, much less multiple items, and we have to try to fit that in 2 minutes. Well, we have to sit and listen to all of you ramble on, all of this all night long, and you keep us here till 9 o'clock at night. So I do appreciate that we've changed that and moved public comment up so that we don't have to sit here till 9 o'clock at night hearing you guys babble about nothing. Appreciate that, thank you. You were elected to represent us. You're not representing us. So don't be surprised when people get upset and come in here a little loud, maybe, and upset with you. You don't get to silence us. You're in that position because we put you there. Do you understand? You had 3 days of negotiations up in that, I assume, up in that room, not recorded. And when we go to check the agenda to see what you guys talked about in those negotiations, it says absolutely nothing. It says nothing. We have no idea what you were negotiating for 3 solid days. Okay? You're also not recording meetings. As we know in the email that you left up in the room, between meetings the other day. The first subject line, not even the subject line, the first line in that email said, please do not forward this to Sonya. Why? Because you guys are trying to keep me out of this meeting. You are trying to censor us. You are trying to silence us. It's not going to work, Pastor Matthews. You can get that smirk off your face, because I want you to work on that 666. And I don't know why it's still up there and why you haven't addressed it. It is there. It is clear and present. Why is it still in our, why hasn't the board addressed this? Not just Pastor, all of you. 666 is in our logo. We want it out. Please get that out of our logo, Pastor Matthew.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Again, thank you to all of our speakers, public participants tonight. We recognize that this is a special night for you also, and so thank you. We do really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and speak to us tonight. And certainly thank you to our medical community. I know you've thanked us, but we also want to thank you for everything that you've done over the last 2 years. We appreciate you greatly. Our next item tonight is our work session report. So Ms. Lemon, will you give us our report, please?
Board of Education President Michael Matthews began the work session with comments and updates from board members and reviewed upcoming events. Chief Financial Officer Megan Sponsler, Director of Finance Mandy Hydock, and the audit firm Clifton Larson Allen Wealth Advisors LLC presented the annual comprehensive financial report, audit, and single audit presentation. Board members discussed public participation at board meetings and concluded the meeting by talking about community engagement and debriefing the work session.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. We're now to our superintendent's report. So, Dr. Pilch, I will give the microphone to you.
Thank you, President Matthews. I'd like to start with an introduction and a recognition, if I may, please. I'd like to introduce our new principal at Winograd K-8 school to you tonight. Miss Lindsay Gentle, would you stand up and say hello? So pending your approval tonight and personnel action, Lindsay will be our new principal at Winograd K-8. I want to just tell you a little bit about Lindsay. She really is the whole package. We are so fortunate to have her here in District 6. She started her career out as a middle school teacher in science. So she's got that science mind and science background and that middle school background from teaching. And then we stole her away from another district, and she has a lot of experience coaching other teachers and then working as an administrator at Bella Romero K-8. She served as assistant principal at the 4-8 school, and most recently is now serving as the associate principal at Bella Romero K-3 campus. And so she's honed her elementary reading and literacy and early learning skills there while she's been at the K-3. And we're just so excited to have a principal come in with her kind of experience working really at all grade levels that she'll be serving there at Winograd K-8. So congratulations to Lindsay, and we're just so pleased you've dedicated your career to District 6. Thanks for being here. And then I also wanted to share, you mentioned negotiations earlier and that we negotiated for the 3 days. I'll just remind you, the first time we did this, and I don't think any of you were on the board at the time, Mrs. Pappas was with us actually. I think we started with an initial 5 days and then another 2 days that we came back and then another day for an update. And so I feel really good that we've gotten down to 3 days of meeting, and then we move into committees. So just a little bit of a update of what went on those 3 days. We met here in this room. We didn't have anyone attend, although the meeting was open to the public, and it's really the first year we didn't have anyone else join us for negotiations. We met here and we heard reports from the committees that have been working over the last couple of years, and there's 3 committees. They're called Systems of Support for Students and Staff, the Time and Learning Committee, and the Compensation Committee. And so we heard reports from the committees, and then we went to work talking about what we would propose those committees do next. So there were really no new, really big issues to work on. We built on the committee work that has been going on here in the district, and that Systems of Support for Students and Staff. The next work there is really about that committee developing deeper prevention and intervention strategies for students to ensure students are learning and students are engaged in the classroom, and then also to support classroom teachers with the training and supports they need as they implement new strategies for students. The Time and Learning Committee actually looked at a 4-day school week and decided that was not a good decision for District 6, not a good fit here for our community. So at this time, we would not be recommending a 4-day school week. They had also looked at the possibility of a true year-round school where a fourth of your students and staff are out of school at a time, allowing greater utilization of those school buildings. And the decision was made by that committee that we don't want to move forward with a true year-round school. There are a couple things that committee will be really focusing on over the next several months, and one will be looking at the elementary instructional day and the time at the elementary school. That's really important for us to look at. And then also looking at what is called a balanced calendar, which is a little bit like a year-round calendar or a little longer school year calendar, but you're not dumping out a fourth of your student body and staff at a time. So we have some more research to do there, and that committee will continue to work on that. We'll have some feedback loops for parents for both of these committees as we work through the issues so that parents have opportunity for input as we might develop new solutions for our schools. And then finally, the compensation committee. This committee really meets all year long, well, as did these other committees, but we're at a point where, of course, we're recommending steps and lanes, which means teachers who have additional education or additional years would move up on the salary schedule. And then we just really need to see where the state funding is. At this time, we really don't have any projections from the state yet on funding. So we'll wait for that information to come in, and the compensation committee will continue to come together and do the work and make a recommendation to you all as the Board of Education as a part of the master contract later this spring. Again, there are no new committees that came out of this negotiations. We actually sunset one of our committees from the previous negotiations, which was a committee on professional development. And they've got a new path that they're going on, and no need for that committee to continue to work. So with that, I will let us get on with our agenda.
Thank you, Dr. Pilch.
Thank you.
Our next item is our consent agenda, and we'll need a motion to proceed.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley-Evans School District 6 approves items as presented on the consent agenda and authorizes the officers to sign any and all contracts.
Second.
Thank you both. Any discussion or question on our consent agenda? Hearing none, Ms. Lemon, will you give us a vote, please?
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Mueller?
Aye.
Director Norwood?
Aye.
Director Pappas?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. Our next item on our agenda are revisions to our G personnel policies, and this is also an action item.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley-Evans School District 6 approves revisions to G personnel policies as presented.
Second.
Thank you both. Before we open this up for discussion from board members, Dr. Pilch, it looks like there aren't a lot of substantive changes here, just some allowing some of our classified employees to accrue some more, in ATP to accrue some more vacation time. Is there anything else we need to know about this one?
I think the only thing you will want to know is that this is an effort at employee retention. It really, I mean, we're doing everything we can that would be cost minimal to the school district, and so this is one of the things that our staff have asked us to allow them to do, and we're recommending it in this policy.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Pilch. Any question or comment from board members? Ms. Mueller.
I do have one question. Totally on board about supporting staff retention. How does this impact our sub requirements? I mean, I suppose it doesn't change. We still have a shortage of subs.
Yeah, I don't think it impacts that.
Not really.
No, and this is really for classified and administrative professional technical. So, which of course we have a hard time getting classified subs, but our biggest shortage is with classroom teacher subs.
Okay, I got you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Lemon.
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Mueller?
Aye.
Director Norwood?
Aye.
Director Pappas?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. Our next item are revisions to policy IKA grading assessment systems. And again, this one, well, let's proceed first with a motion.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley-Evans School District 6 approves revisions to policy IKA grading/assessment systems as presented.
Second.
Thank you both. Now, Dr. Pilch, I do think this one is just, it looks like just some linguistic changes as we often have. Is there anything I'm missing?
No, sir.
Any question or comment from board members on this policy change? Seeing none, Ms. Lemon.
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Mueller?
Aye.
Director Norwood?
Aye.
Director Pappas?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. Our next item is the first read of the 2022-2023 school year calendar. And this is first read, so it's not an action item, but it's being brought to us tonight to consider. And Dr. Pilch, do you have any comments on this before? I see Ms. Overton coming to the podium, so.
No, I'm going to pass this to Assistant Superintendent, Mrs. Overton.
Thank you, Dr. Pilch. Good evening, President Matthews, Board of Directors, and Dr. Pilch. As she's indicated that it's time again for the calendar, it's my pleasure to address the board with the calendar for the next school year. Just so you're aware, we have two co-chairs that are here present tonight that have run this committee. Christina Crane, Director of Human Resources, back in the back. And Andy Lee, our President of GEA. She's over here as well. Do we have the slides present? Slides. Are they coming? Sorry. Oh, that's ready. Sorry. Okay. Where are they? All right, perfect. All right, the process for developing the school year calendar entails considerations from board policies, research, committee work, regularly scheduled meetings, and feedback from a variety of stakeholders. Members of the calendar committee include parent representatives to help us determine the best outcomes and the best impact for families who need to work with employers about their work schedules, for family vacation planning, for giving ideas about how their children are impacted by school schedules. We include secondary and elementary teachers who know instruction and know the impact that the calendar has on developing lesson plans, testing, grading, and collaboration, and of course, student achievement. We've also invited administrators from all school levels to assist with impacting and leading professional development and collaboration between departments or within departments and or grade levels, as well as how to design a schedule for students' best student achievement opportunities. Additional members of the committee include district leadership, both instructional and operational staff, to know the impact the school calendar has on our classified staff salaries, the tight timeline for the bond work, and the student count window, as well as student CHASA activities. We use board policy ICA for guidance from the board, including examining the instructional time as it relates to educational opportunities or educational objectives in Innovation 2030, professional development and staff in-service time, creating a feedback loop for community, parents, teachers, and students. We also consider state requirements for instructional minutes where students are actively engaged in the instructional process. A series of meetings are scheduled throughout December, January, and February for the purpose of determining what should be considered in the calendar using that consensus model that we used in negotiations. Everyone then turns to their constituents to determine which of the proposals are relevant and accepted. Opportunities for feedback are provided through the District Accountability Committee, where parents and community members are invited to weigh in. Parents still hold fast to limiting the 3 to 4 days weeks, the weeks that are 3 to 4 days long, as this is challenging for childcare. Additionally, many of them enjoy the late start Monday as well. This year, the Council of Student Representatives provided their opinion, 100% agreement with late start Mondays. Indeed, they have lived it for the past year, and they enjoy easing into Mondays after so many activities over the weekend. Teachers across the district were provided a survey from GEA, and administrators participated in a survey as well. Overwhelmingly, the late start option was the majority. While full days of additional time for teachers and professional development, the majority of the district instructional staff agree that the late start provides them the opportunity to get prepared for the week ahead. So here's the breakdown in the 2022 calendar. It mirrors the current calendar for 2021-22. It's this year. It provides consistency for parents, staff, students, since this was a new model. Many principals ask us to maintain consistency for another year in order to see if there were any changes that should be made. Implementing a new model for just 1 year was not enough time to determine if it worked and benefited for student achievement. It minimizes short weeks as requested by parents. The professional development days offered in the fall and in the spring remain on Monday as this current school year. This will help with consistency for parents adjusting their work schedule close to a weekend. The feedback we received from students, family, and staff indicated that we want to maintain our Monday late start. This is a great opportunity for staff to have a little planning time to prep for the week ahead. Maintaining a system-wide approach helps families who need childcare to utilize their older students to watch their younger siblings. There are 27 total Mondays that are impacted by this. 16 of those Mondays are given to teachers to support planning and teacher-directed collaboration. 11 of those Mondays are provided to principals to utilize time for staff meetings or professional development to ensure system-wide program alignment. Highlights that impact the students are listed here. As you can see, the start dates are August 11 and 12 for grades 1 through 12. This is a rolling start and allows for half students to come each day and meet their teacher and get acclimated to a new school year. Our kindergarten students begin on 16th and 17th. Same thing. They too are given the time to acclimate to the new environment in their classroom and to attending school. The committee has received positive feedback on a week-long option for Thanksgiving break. As we have heard from parents that having 2 weeks off during winter break, that is their best option. You may notice that winter break is the 16th through the 2nd. In that time frame, we attached a work day and a professional development day to each side of the break. Mid-semester breaks give students an extended weekend so that they can refresh between grading periods. Here are the highlights of the calendar for the staff members. Our new teachers coming into the system have 4 days more in their work calendar prior to all other teachers returning. They come in for 3 days earlier than other teachers and complete 1 additional day during the fall. The district provides classes that the teachers need for state-required induction. The balanced semesters are important to staff for a couple reasons. First, having the semester end prior to winter break allows for a new start to a curriculum in January, and it also allows students to complete at the high school level to complete their finals. Teachers indicate that the extra days in the spring semester provide time for students to get extra support or time to complete courses prior to graduation and or promotion to the next school level. It also gives a little bit of time in there for testing. These 2 dates offer an extended date, that mid-semester break, offer an extended break for teachers and staff who work at a school site. So you've received this calendar. This is the one that we are talking about, and your report backup documentation. Our committee reached consensus on this calendar proposal. At this time, I would entertain any questions or comments that you might have.
Thank you, Ms. Overton. Ms. Mueller.
So In light of COVID, I know that we kind of forgot about snow days, and then February hit and we had a snow day. Do we build those into the calendar anymore?
So we don't actually build in snow days, Ms. Mueller, but we have additional instructional minutes that we have to work with. So we are not at our minimum on instructional minutes at any grade level. We're closest at the high school level, but we're roughly 4 days over in instruction.
Okay. And then I have one more question, I'm sorry. I ask this every year, and every year you tell me the answer, and every year I forget the answer. I always see that graduation and the state track meet align at the same exact weekend. Do we have problems with seniors not being able to attend graduation due to that, or?
We have not had significant problems with that. I mean, we're usually able to work it out to where the student is quickly jumping in a car and off to the state meet, or coming back from the state meet. So it has not been a significant issue, and quite frankly, the desire to have graduation there that weekend before we get to the Memorial Day weekend is far greater than the desire to avoid those state competitions that might occur that weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Bettis.
Thank you for that information. I appreciate the feedback loop that you identified with the different groups. Can you just give us an example? I'm specifically talking about the late start Mondays. So can you just refresh my memory? There are 27 days, and what's the breakdown of that again?
Yes, I can, thank you. There are 27 total Mondays, and then 16 of them are given to teachers so that they can use for planning or teacher-directed collaboration. However they choose to use that time, it's given back to them. And then there are 11 that are given to principals to use in meetings, a school meeting, or some professional development that they may have at the site level.
And are those days consistent across the district, or does each building get to decide which days are principal directed or teacher directed?
You know, I believe that they're consistent across there. There might be something that happens where they do a little bit of work and then they give additional time back to a teacher, but they don't move those across the system. I mean, across the month, they remain the same.
Okay. And then one more thing, can you just give us an example of what teacher-directed collaboration might look like?
So if I am working in a third grade classroom and I have my third grade team teachers that, or grade level team, and I really want to have some time together with them because I'm new and I don't know how to teach something, and I want to have some time with them, I might reach out to them and say, hey, is there any chance you'd be willing to share 30 minutes, give me 30 minutes of your time? And then we would be able to collaborate on it. They might be able to teach me what I could do to better instruct that week.
But that doesn't replace the time that is given, for example, in a co-teaching situation. That doesn't replace that.
Nope, it's just teacher directed, whatever they want, however they want to use that is. It's their own individual time. But on occasion, there might be, like in that example, I could see using that as a third grade teacher, even a high school. I want to go over how I would use this social studies lesson.
Okay, thank you. And thanks for all this work. I know it's been a long process and a good process.
Thank you, Ms. Pappas.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yeah, I just have one quick question regarding the month of April. I thought CMS was only a 2-week window, and you have, it looks like, the month of April blocked out for that. Is that more like just the window for Colorado's testing, or is that just a rolling time where the schools can choose their time, or how is that working?
Dr. Data, do you need Dr. Data to assist you with that answer?
That would be fine. Thank you, Dr. Data.
No problem. Thank you for asking, and it actually is about a 3-week window and additional time then for makeup. So we really try to maintain that month so that they can really have the full time to get all of it in and make sure students are having proper accommodations made for them. So a lot goes into that time. Yeah. Okay. PSAT, SAT is also during that window on designated days as well as the CMAS training. Yeah.
Thank you.
Testing. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Ms. Mesh.
Thank you for the presentation, and it's nice to have this. I mean, I know it's not final yet, but it's nice to have it a little bit in advance. I think I heard you say that the students have really enjoyed the late start Monday, and it sounds like you've gotten feedback from staff. I was just curious if we have gotten a lot of feedback from parents. I personally bring 3 additional students to school on Mondays, and 2 of them, their mom's a teacher. So in order for them not to have to come early with her, And then the other one, their parents need to work right at 8. So I was just curious, like, do we have the option for children to still come early, or what have you heard on that front?
We have, each site will accommodate, if there are students that need to come in, there is an accommodation for them, that will have something. But I don't know that, and Wes, you might know this, but I don't know that there's more than 20 or 25 at a site. That's at least the information that I've received. But we will certainly accommodate any family that needs to have their student dropped off.
Ms. Mash, their parents have been pretty clear about this is inconvenient. So whether you do an early release Wednesday or a late start Monday, it is disruptive to their schedule. So what we have worked with parents on through the district accountability committees and the student or the school accountability committees is what is the preferred option in order for teachers to be able to have this time to collaborate and buildings to be able to have this time for professional development. What is preferred? Is it a full day that's preferred? Is it that late start Monday, an early release Wednesday? And what most parents indicated that that Monday morning they can plan for. It's one day a week. They know to expect it, and it's an hour. We know that the high school kids, and those of you who have high schoolers know this, they really appreciate the late start Monday.
And then some parents or some families will ask their high school student or their upper middle school student to watch their elementary students, so to get them to school.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nash.
Are there any other questions, comments from board members?
President Matthews, if I may, I just want to clarify one more thing that I think Ms. Overton hit on, but I want to just be really clear about it. We converted initially, remember, full days off that were either teacher work days or professional development days to capture this Monday morning late start time. So that's what we gave up to move to the Monday morning late start. We didn't carve instructional minutes off to get to the Monday morning late start.
Thank you, Dr. Pilch.
Thank you, Dr. Pilch. Ms. Overton, I'd just say thank you to you and certainly to your committee. I know I've told you this before, but you can't even make everybody in the Matthews household happy with a calendar. So I appreciate you taking on this work, and please thank your committee and those teachers that volunteered their time for this. Thank you for bringing Ms. Crane back to the boardroom too. We're always glad to see her. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And that's all I think that we have for you tonight. This is a labor of love. And I would say as much as we do love calendars and policies, it really is for us about loving students and teachers and administrators. And so just know that if you're in District 6, your board loves you. And this meeting is adjourned.